It is time for some weekly and monthly closes. We're going to do two videos today. One real quick recap of Bitcoin, and then we'll go into the second video, which will be the weekly closes for the miners. So before we get going, go ahead and check out Capital Curiosities. They got a new video dropping today in about an hour and a half or so. Germany's Enron, the wire card fraud. You can click on the little notify me here. It's the upcoming premiere. And then if you click on that, you get a little notification that it is out there ready to watch. Anyways, let's get back into it. So let's look at Bitcoin here. So we got the monthly close in May here was pretty good. It was up 11.11%. We closed the body above the previous body, which is good. So we got a higher high here. So we went higher on the wick, right? And we closed the month also above the bodies here, which is all very good. If this candle here in June can stack, even if it's a small stack, as long as we can move up and hold above $110,000 in June at some point, which is going to be tough because June is it's a hard month. But if we can do that in June, I'm feeling pretty confident about Bitcoin going higher, potentially going to that 120, maybe even reaching that 150 target here sooner than later, maybe in the summer run. So what am I watching to the downside? So one thing I will say is that this part that we're looking at right here, this little formation right here, is looking eerily similar to the 2021, where we got a little bit higher, the bodies closed above, and then we got a red candle, 3 red candles in a row, small bounce, and then further dive. All right, so, oops. So let me go back in here, turn these off again. So you see, yeah, that happened. That was October 2021. We got a slight wick higher, then a body that closed above, right here in October 2021. And then we were followed by a red candle the next month, and then a red all the way down. So if June closes red, I'll be very concerned. I'll be very concerned if June closes red. I really don't want to see a red June. And I'll show you why. If we see a red June, I'm going to be very concerned about this whole thing right now. So I'll show you why right now. So if I bring on the global liquidity index indicator, and that is, I got a lot of these, but let's go into my favorites. Global liquidity, where you at? Global liquidity index by quantitative, and then it ends. That's the one that I'm looking at here. Now, if we come in here, and we go to the weekly, and then I do, did it keep my offset? I have it offset by, nope. All right, let's do 90. I think it was 95 was the proper offset that I had. Something like that. Let me take a look. No, let me go to the daily. It worked better on the daily. Okay, on the daily. Let's see here. I had it, and it resets it every time. It's really annoying. Okay, yeah, it's pretty close. All right, so I think it's about 100 days. Let me go back in there. So liquidity index, and then we go to the settings, and it's about 100 days. This might actually put a little too far forward. Yeah, okay, so that was too far forward. Let's see here. 90 days. Offset bars by 90. There we go. Offset by 90. You can see the peaks kind of line up, maybe a little bit off. So we're looking at now the liquidity. If you can see, we follow this liquidity pretty closely. It's a pretty close following of the liquidity. You can see, let me turn that up. There we go. All right, you can see we peaked around the time it peaked, right? We started falling off the time it started falling off. We hit a trough about the time it hit a trough, and we've been climbing up consistently with it since then right now. And we even got this little dip here with it. So let me actually do that like 92. I think 92 is the appropriate one to make it just line up real pretty. Yeah, that's it. Okay. And we follow that trough there. Boom. We hit the end of that trough about tomorrow, June 2nd. And then we see a big blast up. So this could be June 2nd, June 3rd, June 4th, sometime next week. We should see a move up. And it should eclipse this high here of $111,000, potentially even taking us to $120,000. And after that, we really shouldn't dip back beneath, 105 or 106. We shouldn't go much lower than $110,000 after that drive up. If that does not occur, I'm going to get very nervous. Okay, I'm going to get very, very nervous about this whole thing. Now, I did sell a lot of my BitX a couple days ago. Like I have BitX, which is the 2x Bitcoin ETF. I sold that around like May 28th, and it did come down a bit, and I was pretty happy about that it came down a little bit because I kind of knew that was going to happen. Now I'm watching this right here because this looks like a bear flag. Right here, let me turn on the drawings so everything's going to get very ugly real quick. Okay, So I got this white line here. If we lose this white line, we're going to the 50-day. We go to the 50-day, we're going to touch $100,000. Now, that could happen in the next couple of days. I'm not going to be too concerned if it does that, right? If it does that in like the first week of June and then recovers near like Friday of this week, I'm not going to be too concerned about that. I'm actually kind of like that. I'm watching this line right here, and I'm going to actually put an alert on that. Crossing up just once. Okay, create. All right, I like that because with that, and then it means we're going to come up to here, which is about 108,000. And then if we cross 108,000 again, and we're going for the high. All right. Anyways, we lose that line, we go to the 50, hit $100,000. Not too concerned if we do that. That's fine. As long as we could even dip as low as like 93 on a wick. Like as low as 93 on a wick. I'm still not too concerned as long as we're above the 200-day moving average. We lose the 200-day moving average again right now. Like sometime in June, we lose the 200-day moving average again. Then I'll start getting very, very concerned about this whole thing. Because there's a few things I'm seeing right here on this chart, okay? There's a few things that I'm seeing that are bearish. All right, so we got a head and shoulders right here. This head, shoulder, head, right, shoulder, and that would take us all the way back down to about 95,000, okay? That's still relatively okay as long as it stays there for a very short period of time. The other thing is right here, I'm seeing a bear flag right here. Okay, these two candles are making a bear flag. So we had this waterfall off for a few days, and we're seeing that looks like a bear flag. Okay, don't like that. So we could still see this come down a little bit before that liquidity picks up. It could be a few days late. So we could be looking at Wednesday, Thursday, Friday maybe as the basing, and then we go back up again. That's what I'm looking at. We do have RSI still bullish. MACD, BX trender looks terrible. So I do think we could hit the 50. I think we could hit the 50. And I got two bearish structures telling me that we might go all the way down to 95,000 here before turning around and having that epic run up to like $115,000, $120,000 here for summer. Okay. Now, invalidation of that bearish sentiment is crossing back above this line. Crossing up back above this line, which would be today 106,000, tomorrow 105.6 thousand, Tuesday 105,000. That would be invalidation of the continued downtrend. It would be following this white line up. As long as we don't like break this white line, we're fine. That bearish sentiment isn't going to come out. And even if we break this second line right here, we can come up to 108 and still fail. Like we can come as high as 108,000, maybe even 109,000 and still roll over. So we're watching that real close. Real invalidation is taking out the new high. Like the real invalidation level of my bearish thought here is getting over 111, about $112,000, okay? And getting back into this channel above. The fact that we're creating head and shoulders, I don't like that. And if we come down to 95 and go flat, this could be another shelf that we could break through and come all the way down to 84,000 in that scenario. Now, what am I seeing that's interesting and that I like? Okay, liquidity is lining up nicely. We are seeing something of a potential cup and handle coming through here. Like right here, we got a cup. We could come down as low as about 94,000, 95 to get that handle. And if that's a cup and handle at that level, we could be looking at, let me go ahead and draw it. If that is a cup and handle, just like it was on the S&P a few years ago that I correctly identified, we could be going as high as $150,000 off of a dip into $95,000. Okay, if that's a cup and handle. Anyways, that's basically my Bitcoin outlook right now. I'm waiting to see if we're going to tap tap $95,000 and then bounce from there, or about $100,000 and bounce real heavy from there. I did sell out of my BitX. I did sell out of some of my Bitcoin miners like IREN. I sold out of IREN. I was up about 70% on the options that I had, so I sold out of those. I was up about 15% on the Mara options that I had, so I sold out about half of those. In anticipation for this little dip. And then I'm going to be monitoring this very closely, and I will be getting in probably a little bit lower than where I got out. It's already a bit lower than where I got out, and I'm monitoring this very closely. We're watching this real close all the way up to the end of this cycle now. But we are seeing, we had a lower high here, so we had a double top that came in right here. We had that top at 111, then we got another top at 110, and we broke that neckline right there, right? And we came all the way to the bottom of that move, which is right here, which is where that head and shoulder starts. And if that head and shoulder plays out, we come out to down to about $95,000. If we stop at $95,000 and start to reverse, then we are looking at that cup and handle that could take us up to $150,000 on Bitcoin. What does that mean for the miners? That means that the miners are likely soon after going to run quite nicely. And we'll talk about that in the next video, which I'm going to be working on right now. So anyways, that's all I've got for you on this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video. Check out the Trade Cave store, link in the description, as well as the channel bio. Don't forget about Capital Curiosities. It's a real fun channel, doing some very interesting videos over there, and have a profitable day.